Business users rejoice. This is the Lenovo Thinkpad X1 Yoga Gen 6. It's a ThinkPad, which means it carries military specifications, good for high moisture environments, high density environments. You can drop it, it'll keep ticking. There's a lot of good qualities there on the ThinkPad side. On the X1 side, I take that to mean it's going to be lighter than you would expect. It's going to be thinner than you would expect. And so it kind of bucks the trends for being a business machine, but also, pretty easy to carry around and use. And it's aimed at the business class, so ThinkPad and X1 combined. And then finally on the yoga side, this thing is a 2-in-1. You can rotate the display all the way around, and we'll talk about that when we get to the hinges. So first disclaimer, this is all aluminum, right? It's a really nice build. When you think about the specs, right, these are 11th Gen i5 and i7s, 8 gigs of RAM at the 32, and then you look at the price, starting at $2,600 US and then climbing almost to $4,000. These are not cheap devices. They're not cheaply made. They're not cheap materials, right? And it's very well engineered. There's a couple of key privacy features in here that I'll highlight to help justify that expense. But also, this is aimed at the business class. So if you're trying to figure out, do I buy the Surface 4 or the MacBook Pro, or do I go with this Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Yoga Gen 6? You're comparing apples and oranges. Even though they're all kind of used for the same functions, this has the business and privacy in mind. Okay, disclaimer over. Let's do the tour. So first of all, Lenovo badge in the left corner. I think this is going away, just looking at some of the latest stuff out of Lenovo on their Legion line, which is too bad because I love that branding. And then you have the model series right here, ThinkPad X1. Now, I've been using this. It is not a fingerprint magnet, which is really cool. Like, I cannot get grease on this, Lenovo. I know it's the color to a degree, but also it's your materials. Whatever you're doing, share it with the rest of the industry. All right, so popping out a little bit on the right-hand side, we have a Kensington lock, security feature, USB-A 3.0, and a headphone jack, and a stylus. The stylus comes right out. It's pretty cool. On the other side, we have a USB-C 4 Thunderbolt port with charging. We have an LED status indicator, another Thunderbolt port, another USB-A port, and an HDMI out, business feature. Okay. On the back, I mean, nothing really too fancy, right? You got your intake, you can get in here and unscrew things. You have really thin feet, which is cool. A lot of laptops these days are shipping with big old feet, but I think we can thank Lenovo's engineering and Intel's engineering for that. All right, so let's crack open this all aluminum chassis. So first, starting with the keyboard deck. Lenovo's keyboards on the ThinkPads are top of the line. That's it. They're amazing. Even Joe Rogan talks about how good these keyboards are. So yeah, if it reached Joe Rogan, then it's awesome. All right, let's lower that. Sorry about that. Okay, now dedicated dedicated buttons for clicking the mouse. Mouse 1, mouse 2, right, left, right, and then the middle mouse button. The trackpad is a glass finish, so you don't get the cheap plastic, but it's not phenomenal. I mean, it's good, but it's not phenomenal, right? To me, phenomenal is the MacBook Pro. Now, you cannot click it on the top. You can click it on the bottom and all the way across horizontally, and of course, you can click it on, middle and bottom work just fine. This is, as I didn't mention, this is Intel Evo spec. This particular model has an i7 and 16 gigs of RAM. It starts at i5, 8 gigs of RAM for $2,700, but $1,500 on sale. And you get that branding again here, which is, I think, very beautiful. There are front-firing speakers and there are bottom-firing speakers. They sound fine. I mean, it's a business machine. So if you're stuck at a hotel for a couple of nights, you can watch some movies on this and be pretty satisfied with it. I mentioned the keyboard's awesome. Here's some more business features. You have dedicated buttons for hanging up and answering phone calls. So that's kind of cool. And there's also a fingerprint reader on the power button. So you can set that up. I didn't, but you can set that up and then away you go. This also does have backlighting. It's not the most amazing keyboard backlighting, but it is functional. So stage 1 is off, stage 2 is dim, and stage 3 is a little less, a little better, but it's not gonna it's not a razor. Okay. So I mentioned the hinge. It is a really tight hinge. You can rotate the display all the way flat, or you can rotate it all the way to the back of the machine. And this does support touch, which makes total sense. It's a matte finish, so as you'll notice, this display is coming off a little dim in the video. It's designed to be dim. It's designed to give you privacy. So in a moment, I'm going to talk to you about Privacy Guard and show you how that works. It's a software feature, as far as I understand it, that further dims the screen so that you really have to be looking directly at it in order to see what's going on. You know, from side viewing angles, it's already difficult to see. It's by design. It's for privacy for the business user and for the corporation they represent, but it gets another layer more incredible. Okay, on the camera, you have this Think shutter, so I can turn the camera on or off. Let's go ahead and feature that here. Touchscreen, camera. Okay, nope, privacy, right? So here's iPhone camera. Huh? See? Privacy. Okay, it's not new. It's been around for a while, but it's good to see here. All right, now I'm gonna flip it back around and show you that Privacy Guard, as I promised. Okay, so here you are, right? You're doing some typing. As you can see, I've already done one take. All right, keyboard feels great. Now I will manage social security numbers, which means we need Privacy Guard. So I hit Function, I press D, and it becomes more difficult to read. Now, your perspective as the viewer right now is close to dead on. But imagine, turn it off, if you were at a Starbucks, right, or a cafe, and you're reading, and someone's looking over your shoulder here, right? So now you're trying to read this display. It's already hard to read, and this is at max brightness, by the way. If I go Function D, really hard to read, especially from my angle, right? So yeah, this Privacy Guard is really effective. Again, business feature. So yeah, the total package here, I guess we should talk about the stylus a bit. So here's your stylus. It is your standard stylus. 2 buttons that can be mapped to do certain things, depends on the app. But the cool thing about this is that it is integrated into the machine. So if you don't mind the sound of metal on metal, you're gonna love having that there. Okay, so why spend $1,500 on sale for a super low spec machine or nearly $4,000 for the upper tier? It's for the privacy and the security features. Now, there's nothing this laptop is going to do to protect you from social engineering, right? Or from just being a doofus. But it will protect you from praying eyes. Or if someone steals the machine, then on top of your standard Windows security, you have the fingerprint sensor to power it on, or at least to log in, I should say. And then you have the camera filters for when you're at a cafe working and you don't want someone spying on you. And then you have the same thing for the Privacy Guard. So it's really all about that. But at the same time, and not only is it super secure to the best of the hardware capability, I can move the microphone too, but it's also going to be helpful. It's also really well made with this total aluminum. It's just 3 pounds, has a 16 by 10, 1200p display. It's a really nice machine. So it's not for everybody. This is really, again, geared at the executives. You're not buying this for entry-level business analyst, first job out of college. But if you're the boss, right, you're maybe an upper mid-level manager at a large organization, and you travel, you might be able to score something like this. So that's what this is for. It's a nice machine, as I mentioned. It is expensive, as I mentioned. Thanks to Lenovo for sending it over. I will go ahead and ship it back now. So thanks for watching. Hope you found it valuable. Cheers.